What's up YouTube fam, this is Wesley, welcome back to my channel. So if you've been following my YouTube journey or my life in general, you'll know that I recently moved to Los Angeles, California from Atlanta, Georgia. It's already been about a good 5 months since I decided to come back to California. I used to live in Orange County for about 2.5 years until I decided to leave in order to pursue my career in UX design through a UX bootcamp. Now this was not a simple move because this wasn't me trying to move from one state to another nearby. This was me going from coast to coast, from the south to the west coast. It did take a good amount of planning because there was a lot of different moving parts that I had to account for. I had to figure out how I was going to move all my stuff from Atlanta, then I had to figure out how I was going to move my car, and then I had to figure out housing and roommates. I'm sure many of you guys have thought about making these big moves, and you probably understand that it can be a little bit daunting, especially if you never moved long distance before and you're trying to do it in the most easiest and simplest way possible. Also, let's not forget that these type of moves are not cheap. And if you're on a budget like me, you're trying to do this in the most budget-friendly way. So I wanted to create this video to share with you guys how I planned to move, how I made it happen, and I'll even share with you guys how much money I spent for this move. So let's break this down into 4 parts. Let's first talk about how I moved all my stuff here. When I was in Atlanta, I'd say I had a good amount of stuff that would fill up an entire bedroom. The biggest item that I would have would be my bed, my standing desk, my home office setup, and a few furnitures. Outside of that, I also had a good amount of clothes and shoes as well. It was definitely enough stuff that would require me renting a moving truck or shipping it through a moving service company. Now, I decided renting a moving truck and driving it to California was not an option because I didn't want to go through the long distance drive by myself. And at the time, I was working as a contractor, so I didn't have PTO. So I decided to go with the alternative option, which was to hire a moving company to move all my stuff for me. Now, I looked at a couple of companies that offered different types of moving options. There were ones where they would put all my stuff into a truck and then they would drive it to the destination, or they would put all the stuff into a storage container and then drive that to the destination. I chose the storage container option because the moving truck option was a lot more expensive, and I'd say it was at least around $2,000. Now, there are a good amount of storage container shipping companies out there, but I ended up choosing U-Haul. Now, you probably already know this company from their moving truck rental that you do see all around the States, but they also do have a storage container that they will ship for you, and those are called U-Boxes. I chose this company because it was the cheapest option and I felt more comfortable going with a well-known company. Now, there were a couple of concerns that I had with this option. First thing, would the container be sturdy enough to where it wouldn't break from impact if it were to fall somehow, and if someone was trying to break into it? So the U-Box container that I saw on the website, they were all made out of wood, and I had huge concerns with that, especially when it comes to durability and handling weather. Now, when I went to a U-Haul location to inspect a box up close, I actually noticed that a lot of the boxes were actually made out of metal, which made me feel 10 times better. My assumption is that U-Haul first started off with the wood boxes and then they slowly started transitioning into the metal ones. When I was on the website, I noticed that they didn't have an option to select the box material type, so I think I just got lucky, or maybe they gave me the metal one since my move is considered long distance. But if you want to guarantee yourself with a metal box, you probably need to talk to customer service and request it. When it comes to the security of the box, metal definitely makes you feel better than wood, and also you can attach 2 locks to the door. The locks are not provided for you, so you do have to buy your own. Also, you can purchase insurance just in case. The second concern that I had was, would the container be big enough to hold all my stuff? Now, U-Haul only had one size for their U-Boxes. The one size that they have, it was big enough to fit 1 bedroom worth of stuff, which was perfect for me and what I had. Now, if you're moving an entire apartment or house worth of stuff, U-Haul might not be the best option for you unless you were to get multiple boxes. When I finished packing all of my stuff into the container, I actually did have a couple of extra room, but then I was concerned about my stuff shifting and falling when the box was on the move. Thankfully, each box does come with 6 moving blankets, which I use to put on the floor of the box to help it from not shifting and scratching the base of my furniture, and I used it for buffer room on the sides as well. So after making the final decision to go with U-Haul, I went on their website, selected how many containers I wanted, and selected which specific dates I would like to have my container arrive at the destination. Now, the estimated date of arrival was about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if you're looking for a quicker arrival time, you're probably gonna have to look for a different option. Personally, I had no problem with the 2-week option and not having my stuff for that long. I just pretty much slept on my roommate's extra mattress, and I just had to live a minimalist lifestyle for a couple weeks, which was no big deal. So when it was time for me to access the U-Box, I rented a U-Haul truck first, got my friends to help me, so we packed everything into the truck, drove it to a U-Haul location where my U-Box was waiting. From there, we moved all my stuff from the truck into the container. And that was it. Once I got to California, I got an email notification letting me know that my box arrived. I rented a U-Haul truck again, picked up my stuff, and then moved it into my new apartment. Overall, my experience with U-Haul and their U-Boxes, it was pretty good. The process felt pretty self-explanatory, and then the customer service was really helpful when I did have questions about the whole process. All right, for the next thing, let's talk about how I moved my car. Like I said before, I didn't really want to drive all the way to California due to time and not having PTO. Also, I didn't want to drive my car across the country just because I didn't want there to be the wear and tear from the long distance and then having to pay for maintenance after it. So the only option for me was to ship my car. Now, this is something that I've actually done before in the past, and I've always had a great experience with it. Basically, you hire a car shipping company who will put your car on a auto trailer, and then they'll drive it to the destination. Now, the company that I chose was the American Auto Shipping, whom I've used before in the past. Now, with this company and some of the other ones, you do have the option to have your car stored in an open trailer or a closed one. Obviously, the closed one costs a little bit more because it has a higher chance of protection from theft or natural disasters or damages. I've previously done open trailer, so I chose that again just because the chances of your car getting broken into while it's loaded on a trailer and a natural disaster like a tornado or hail happening, it's slim to none. Also, there are different shipping options available, and I picked the cheapest one where the estimated shipping date would be around a week. So after placing the order, the first step was to schedule a pickup date for when the delivery driver would meet up with you and your car. Now, since the truck has a huge car trailer attached, usually you'll have to meet them at a public space that has a huge parking lot. So for the pickup location, we chose a grocery store nearby that did have a lot of space. Once I got to the location, I met up with the driver, and the first thing we did was to inspect my car for any existing exterior damages. Now, this is to prevent the customer from filing any false damage reports once the vehicle arrived. So we both inspected it, we both took pictures. I needed pictures as well in order to prove and report any damages that may have happened during the delivery. Once everything looked good, I signed a couple of more paperwork, gave them my keys, and said goodbye to my car for about a week. And by the time that I got to California, my car was already there because my aunt was able to pick it up for me. Now, one quick thing to note is that when I paid for the service, I had to place a small down payment for when I placed the order online, and then I had to pay the rest of it when I had to meet up with the delivery driver, and I had to give them either cash or a cashier check. Overall, great experience with the American Auto Shipping. Again, the process was pretty straightforward and the customer service was helpful. All right, so for part 3, let's talk about how I found housing and roommates. So currently I am living with 2 roommates at a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment. Now, finding my current roommates, I pretty much just got lucky. So about 3 months before my move, I actually decided to create an IG story asking if anyone was interested in having roommates for LA. Now, this was a complete shot in the dark. I do have a few friends in OC and in LA from my previous stay, and I hope that one of them would be interested or if they knew anyone else that were looking for roommates as well. Now, luckily, I had a childhood friend who saw my IG story, and he was also looking to move to LA around the same time I did. So we seriously talked for about a month of the upcoming move and us being possible roommates. Once we were good to go, we decided to look for a 3rd roommate, and luckily, the childhood friend knew a college friend who was also looking to move to LA for work, and from there we decided to room together. Now, I don't think I need to really share with you guys how expensive California really is. In my mindset, it just made sense for me to have roommates for the first year, so that way I can get there first, look around other areas to possibly live out, I could scope out the apartments in person, and then decide if I wanted to live by myself or continue living with my roommates. It just felt like the smarter financial thing to do for the first year. Now, when it came to looking for housing, this was a bit of a challenge since none of us were really living in LA at the time. Ideally, you want to be in the city in person so that way you can get a tour of the apartment, and you can also check out the area to see if it's safe, see if it's close to a grocery store, etc. Now, thankfully, my third roommate is from California, and their family knew someone who lived in Southern California who worked in real estate, and they were able to help us find possible apartments and condos to live at, and they were also able to expedite the process and connect us with the right people. And from there, we were able to successfully find a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment that we would all live together. Lastly, let's discuss how I got to LA myself. So I bought a one-way flight to LA. I had 2 large suitcases that I put in through check-in, and they were just filled with all my shoes and clothes. I decided to stay in my aunt's place in Orange County for about a couple of days. Then I drove up to LA, picked up the keys to the new apartment, and then started the whole move-in process of picking up my stuff from the U-Haul location where my U-Box was waiting for me. All right, now I'm sure you guys wanna know how much this entire move cost me. Now for U-Haul specifically, it cost me $1,395.95 for the rental and shipping of the U-Box, and that included the insurance, which was around $25. On top of that, I also rented 2 U-Haul trucks, one for Atlanta when I was moving my stuff into the box, and then one in LA when I was moving my stuff into the new apartment. The Atlanta truck was $45.23, and the LA truck was $71.06. So the total of the U-Haul service was $1,512.24. Again, this was one of the cheapest options that I could find for a moving service, and I was super happy with the price because the other service, it would cost me around $2 grand or even more. Now, for the American Auto shipping and shipping my car, this cost me a total of $1,199. The other auto shipping companies, they cost around the same, to be honest, ranging from $11,000 to $13,000. I chose this company because I used them before and I trusted their service. And lastly, my one-way flight to LA cost me $203.75. And I also paid for 2 check-in bags, which cost me $35 each, totaling at $70. So total price was $273.75. And the final total for the entire move was $2,984.99. So yeah, as you can see, it wasn't cheap, but I am content with that final number, knowing that I did everything I could to keep my expenses low, and there were more other expensive options that would have made things a lot more quicker and simpler. But at the end of the day, I made it to California and the move was successful. And that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this video was informative, especially if you're considering making these long distance moves, so you know what it takes and you know how much it could potentially cost. Let me know if you guys done these moves before. Did it cost as much as my move? Were you guys able to find cheaper alternatives? Any travel hacks that you want to share? Let us know in the comment sections. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.